The insane success of Demon Slayer, with the movie breaking box office records and being the highest grossing film in the history of Japan, over 82 million copies sold, as it was number 1 in manga sales in 2020, with number 2 being Kingdom with a respectable 8.2 million copies. But look at the difference between number 1 and number 2, it's insanity. And even in 2021, Demon Slayer was narrowly beaten by Jujutsu Kaisen, with Jujutsu Kaisen selling 30.9 million copies and Demon Slayer selling 29.5 million. Just hearing these numbers alone should get people to understand what a phenomenon Demon Slayer has become. And like all popular medium of entertainment, regardless if it's anime, live action, TV series, or whatever form it is, it will bring about its haters. And I feel Demon Slayer has its fair share of those people that call it overrated or overhyped. And I don't want to call them haters because at the end of the day, they still ended up watching the show, so in some capacity, they do appreciate the content but just feel it's not what it's hyped up to be. And I can understand that because I was one of those people as well. I watched Demon Slayer straight after season 2 finished. Guardian Ghost of this channel, Dimsy, was continuously harassing your tribal chief to watch Demon Slayer. And I did. And I have to say, the first season was incredibly slow. I was those guys that watched Jujutsu Kaisen before Demon Slayer. Jujutsu Kaisen hit the ground running instantly. You got introduced to the legend of Sukuna. The first scene in episode 1 where you see Yuji being trapped with Gojo saying to him his death sentence will begin soon. In episode 2, we see Gojo fighting against Sukuna and we see a glimpse of the monstrous power that Gojo Satoru possesses. So for me, I was always comparing Demon Slayer to Jujutsu Kaisen because I watched Jujutsu Kaisen before Demon Slayer. And by comparison, Demon Slayer felt slow. But then when watching season 1, I understood why it needed to be slow. So we can get the big payoff in episode 19 where we see Tanjiro slicing the head of one of the 12 moons of Musa. We see throughout season 1 Tanjiro is constantly training. Maybe that's why it felt slow, because that's what it felt like, just one long training arc. We also see Tanjiro fighting demons throughout the season, with the demons getting stronger as we go along, which ends up leading to the epic clash with Rui. Throughout the journey in season 1, we learn what type of person Tanjiro is. Now, one criticism of his that I constantly hear is that he doesn't have a dream like all the other shonen protagonists. Well, that's the thing. This separates Tanjiro from everyone else. You would think his dream is to kill Muzan, the very demon that killed his family and turned his sister into a demon. But no, his endgame goal, as far as we know, is for him to cure his sister and turn her back into a human. Tanjiro just wants to be a good guy and help out his family. Before his family was killed, he was the one doing the work and was the man of the house. He was earning a living so that his family could eat. That's all Tanjiro wants to do. Be an honest man with an honest living to provide for his family. He's not some talented warrior with a hero's destiny. He's a normal everyday guy that just wants to provide for his family, and in this case, just wants his sister to return to normal. This makes Tanjiro stand out from all the other shonen heroes and makes him way more relatable to the everyday guy. So when we see a guy like Tanjiro fighting against the evil force of nature that was Rui, we root for him even more. Rui was cold and was evil to the core, treating his family like trash, whilst we had Tanjiro who would die for his family. It was a complete clash of personalities and ideologies, which always makes the best fights. There was no hope for Tanjiro as we see Rui just overpowering him, but then we see Tanjiro unleash his fire breathing technique mixed with demon arts magic from Nezuko. Together, they defeated Rui. Their journey together throughout season 1 created this hype moment. It was like an accumulation of all the hardship training and bullshit they went through to finally have this moment with this level of animation that anime fans can only dream of. This was breathtaking and edge of your seat action. This was the moment that got me and many other skeptics to understand Demon Slayer and why it's so good. I can't say this enough. It wasn't just the animation that made episode 19 so good. It was a major factor, yes. But again, it's the journey that Tanjiro and Nezuko went through that made that moment so good. The animation gave that moment the justice it deserved. We then see the Demon Slayer movie, which was the Mugen Train arc. We see the first major death of the story with the fan favorite Hashira, Rengoku, dying in that film. We also see a side of Tanjiro that we've never seen before. We have seen Tanjiro angry, but we've never seen him actively trying to antagonize someone like Akaza before. The movie did its job. Our main trio of characters witnessing one of their idols dying right in front of them gave them the extra push and motivation for the next season. In the Entertainment District arc, which I have to say has better animation than even the movie, seriously guys, every episode looks like a masterpiece. The plot was really simple, and that's another criticism of the series, is that it's a very simple story. Well, I don't watch Demon Slayer for a complicated Game of Thrones level plot with all different chess pieces in different parts of the world. I don't need that from Demon Slayer. I have One Piece for that. I watch Demon Slayer for characters like Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu training and surpassing their limits in order to defeat the demons. It's a classic good versus evil, and even then, the demons have tragic backstories like Gyataro and Daki, who were born in horrific conditions and had their mom torture Gyataro as a kid. The demons' backstories are on a different level of tragedy, so in a way, you sympathize with them and can see where they're coming from. So even though it's a good versus evil story, sometimes there is a little bit of grey in there which gets you feeling all sorts of emotions for all the characters on both sides of the coin. And that's what makes Demon Slayer so good. It gets you feeling either very happy with the comedy moments with our main trio, or gets you extremely terrified, such as the moment in episode 10 season 2 where you see Gyataro maliciously threatening Tanjiro whilst he's out of power, and you're shit scared for Tanjiro because you feel this is the moment where he can die. The emotions you feel watching Demon Slayer makes the hype moments that much more amazing. Demon Slayer is a show that does hype correctly, and episode 10 of season 2 perfectly showcases how to create hype and how to pay off your characters. Tanjiro was the lone man standing. He had no hope, and just as he was about to die, Tengen appears with only one arm and saves Tanjiro. The 30 seconds of action where Tengen and Gyataro were screaming at each other got me screaming when I watched it for the first time. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. The music, the color, the voice acting, everything was perfection. Tanjiro then steps in and gets sliced through the chin, but he still pursues forward with Inosuke and Zenitsu doing the same to Daki. The music, the screaming, the animation, the dramatic tension of will they slice both the demons at the same time is peak shonen anime. It had everything, and then you hear the slice. All of this hype action is then followed up with the tragic backstory of Gyataro and Daki, which cools you off. It is very similar to the Marineford War in One Piece. You had the Marineford War, which was insane revelations and unbelievable action, but is then followed up with post-war, with Luffy's backstory to cool you down from the intense action. Demon Slayer is something different for our shonen fans. It delivers on the hype moments, has a main character that is actually relatable, doesn't have a complicated storyline, has a clear hero and villain dynamic, has the best animation with music to complement it as well. Demon Slayer is definitely not overhyped or overrated. It has the perfect balance of story and hype moments which keep the series grounded. If you haven't watched it yet, don't be one of those people that won't watch it just because everyone has watched it. There's a reason why everyone has watched it. It's that damn good and deserves its praise as a juggernaut of shonen anime.